Back here at The Rock, where we are getting some reactions from some of our political parties. Our reporter Veronica Makhoali is on the floor about to speak to Rise and to hear what their reactions are with regards to the election day, how it panned out for some of them and their voters, and what exactly is it that they're expecting when those results start trickling in. Veronica?
Well, thank you very much, Katlego. As you've mentioned, we are here with Rise Mzansi. Really one of the game changers in terms of opposition parties that have come out during this election. But just to get a sense from them about how they've been feeling, it's been long queues. A lot of people have been waiting. I'm hoping you got a chance to cast your vote. But just a general overview so far of the elections for you.
I did. Thanks, Veronica. It has been a very long day. I mean, my day started at 6 a.m. this morning. We've been crisscrossing the whole of Gauteng. I've been to just north of 35 voting districts today. So we've really got a flavor of what this election feels like. Obviously, it's exhausting, but it's exciting to see the way people are so hopeful and ready for change, and there are people who are waiting in queues for 3.5 hours in the cold and not budging. And so that just tells you that there's something that people are fighting for. And I hope, of course, that Rise Mzansi can be the beneficiary of all of that.
Yeah, you mentioned, of course, crisscross and Gauteng. Just paint a picture for us of what you've seen. And I think, obviously, as a political party, you've made quite a claim to wanting to be, a premier for this specific province. Just talk to us a little bit about, what you're hoping the results will say.
I mean, it's any man's guess, of course, what the final outcome will be. But I think what is certain is that there will be no majority party in Gauteng and that we will be governing in a coalition. And our message to South Africans throughout this entire election is that we need new leaders. This is a battle for leadership. The policies don't implement themselves. We need to have the most credible, most competent people on the other side to implement these policies. So for us, we're here for the long haul, and we recognize that work will be done bit by bit, whether we are in the opposition benches, whether we are in a coalition government. Rise Mzansi is not going anywhere, and we want to deliver the new leaders that South Africa deserves in one generation.
Absolutely. And as you've said, it's any man's game. And we're probably going to be here the whole night until we start seeing any kind of result trickling in. But we did get a briefing from the Commission. Just as Rise Mzansi, your view of the Commission's handling so far of this electoral process, our 7th democratic elections?
Look, I think there's no election without its challenges, and this one in particular has had a lot of new elements from independent candidates, the changes to the sort of voting districts and the need for a Section 24A certificate. And so there have been a few challenges there, system issues as well. And so, I think people have, it's been very hit and miss. Some people went in and out, had a fantastic experience. Others found the experience a lot more frustrating. But I also think, again, that's the nature of the game. What I'm quite confident about is that, I think the IEC retains its position as an institution of integrity and one that can and has proven itself over and over again to be able to deliver a free and fair election.
All right. Thank you so much, Visa, for your time. We'll be hanging out with you, of course, throughout the entire evening as we wait for those results to trickle in. We're going to do a little bit of a look, of course, here at the results center, the nerve, essentially, of the electoral process. But the honesty is, right now, as we stand, there's not much really happening here because all of it is happening at the voting stations. I'm seeing now Freedom Front Plus spokesperson, Wouter Wessels. I'm going to try and grab him very quickly before he heads out. Wouter, thank you for your time. First and foremost, just an overview from you of the electoral process so far. Many South Africans coming out. The IEC, in fact, saying they are confident that the turnout here is way past the 66% that we saw in 2019.
Yes, a lot of people showed up, but a lot of people were also disenfranchised because of system errors, because of presiding officers making the wrong calls, not acting according to what they were trained for and how they should have acted when the VMD machines didn't work, where they should have switched over to the manual process. A lot of people only received one ballot paper. And although they should have received 3, they only voted on 1 and they were disenfranchised on the other 2. So we are very concerned with regards to certain of those technical problems and mistakes that were made. And just really, the IEC did not learn from mistakes made in 2021. And we really expected better. And we are concerned that it actually disenfranchised the electorate, and yeah, that's not good.
And would you say that the IEC has given itself a fair review in regards to how it's carried out this process?
I don't think so, because they should have firstly learned from everything that happened in 2021. That was different circumstances with COVID, with new presiding officers and IEC officials around the country, and also the first time they used the VMD machines. But this time they should have learned from those mistakes. Also, we had 2 days of special voting. A lot of these problems occurred then. It was locked by political parties, but they didn't do anything about it and reoccurred today. So then they say that it just shows that they can still do better. That's not good enough. South Africa expects more from the IEC, and with this knife-edge election, every vote counts, and every vote that was lost due to this incompetence is really sad.
And would you say that it's enough from the IEC to say that they are still willing to open their doors, allowing everyone to come through to the voters, well, to the voting stations? Does that compensate at all for the mishaps of today?
Not really. Like, voting stations closed at 9 o'clock. People that were in the queues can now still vote, and some of those people will stand there up until 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock this morning, most probably. And we really have to praise those people that stood in queues for 7 hours, are still standing in queues just to bring out and utilize their democratic right to vote. And they should be applauded, but I don't think the IEC should be applauded.
Well, thank you, Wouter, for your time. Really appreciate it. Quite a different observation from coming from the Freedom Front Plus in regards to the IEC's rollout of the elections, really not mincing his words and saying that they were mishaps that should have been avoided, that the IEC could have learned from this, but really praising the many South Africans that are braving and enduring those snaking queues to make sure that they cast their ballot, to make sure that they are counted and that their voice is heard and they are part of this democratic process. We will, of course, continue to bring you as much political reaction that we can, seeing as though the political parties are just waiting for the results to come in. It will take some time, but of course it's important to continue to reflect what is happening here on the ground. As you can see from this current moment, it is a little bit quiet, but we are expecting a lot more political parties here. Back to you.